In our final video for this Resilient series, Chad and Dana Richardson reflect upon God's resilient gift of generosity as they've experienced that in their lives and in relationship to our mission here at Prince of Peace. They also reflect upon what that means in raising their children as young disciples of Jesus.
Jesus called us to go make disciples, and I feel like we've tried to do that through huddles, and I feel like we're trying to live into our calling and our mission. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think we've been coming here we've been married for 17 years and have been coming here ever since we were first married. So this has been a huge part of our lives growing together. Then when we started our family and having our kids, wanting to have them in a church family, wanting them to be here, and the community that we've developed, that we've been able to develop and be a part of while we've been here has been really important to us throughout our lives. And one of the great parts of that has been learning all about all the things that we do outside of this building just when we come here on Sunday. It's the community programs that I didn't even know existed till I started hearing more about it and getting more involved in things. It's the preschool that supports so many families nearby. All those things together, to me, it's taken this, what started for us is just this small little thing that we did on Sundays, realizing how we as a church are living and loving like Jesus through these programs, and being able to contribute to that has been fulfilling, and seeing how that's grown and how that's shaped a lot of lives just outside of who we've met here and who we've gotten to know here, knowing that it's reaching out into the community and further. I think that's been a great part of our lives together, and then now being able to share that with our kids. And when we talk about the child that we sponsor through HTF at Wings of Hope, we talk about Neilio a lot, and them getting to see just some of the beginning stages of that and understanding that's been important too.
And I think the idea of generosity, when I think of that, I think of, at its best, it comes from identity. Like, we are God's kids. We say that to our kids all the time. Mm-hmm. We're all children of God. And as children of God, we've been extremely blessed in many different ways. Good health, opportunities to secure employment, just tons of different things. And when we are grateful for the blessings, then the natural response from that is generosity, be it with your financial resources, be it with giving of your time and volunteering. And I think Prince of Peace, over these last 15 years, I've definitely grown into my identity as a child of God. I wouldn't have said that. That wouldn't have been the first word that came out of my mouth when you say, "Who are you?" That wasn't the starting point before. So I think of it as kind of a grateful response for the blessings that we have.
Over the years, become more and more aware, like Chad said, of how just our life circumstances we've been very fortunate, and allowing our kids to grow up in that environment, we want them to be aware, even from a younger age, really how fortunate, how blessed they are to be in this in the life situation that they're in now, and to be able to share that with other people by giving back their time, giving back their kindness. We've taken them to volunteer at Matthew 25 Ministries, so to show them that their time is important. They can, even at their age, can do small things. The programs through church where we've done God's work, our hands have been important in showing the value of time and the generosity of time and what we can accomplish together. And then we do talk about, with our stewardship, we explain how we give a certain amount of money to church regularly and how that's an important part of our faith to support all the work that we're doing here at church. It's not just keeping the lights on here, which is something very for kids to see, very basic, like there's a building, there's lights, there's there's things here that we've bought, but understanding how our church takes that money and shares it with other people who need help with things, with food, with clothing, with maybe some learning experiences, and just being open and talking with them about those things pretty honestly, I think has been something we've been trying to be really honest with them about.
I think another thing that we've started doing as well when it comes to our kids is, there's kids are always asking, can we go do this? Can we buy this? Our kids are not neglected in that way. They have much more than I ever did, but we do say no, and we intentionally say no. And part of that conversation is we need to say no to this so we can say yes to helping this person, or sponsoring Neelio, or giving to HTF, or any number of other charitable things that we do, making sure the church is supported, because of all the reasons Dana mentioned with the program's Nest and all the things that we do. So I think a lot of it, I've heard someone say that with children, a lot of it's more caught than taught. So they see what you do more than just telling them to do it. So we try to make that, try to have a good example of generosity, both in money as well as volunteering and time and all of those sorts of resources.
And I know for me growing up, I grew up going to a Lutheran church, and every Sunday, no matter what, when the offering plate came down, my parents were putting an envelope in the offering plate, and I didn't really think about it a lot at the time, but now reflecting back, that consistency, that taught me at an early age, like every week, no matter what's going on, like here's that envelope and you can put it in and pass it down. And that's something too, learning from example, just seeing it that way.
Past years, I've heard people talk about, the idea of abundance versus scarcity, and just having an abundance mindset, and easier said than done. But I feel like through connections with, and it's much harder now in the pandemic. It's funny. We need the personal connection now more than ever. But you have to get very creative to get it. But be it through online Bible studies or sitting in someone's driveway, socially distanced, and just talking. I think the community support and connection that most times we would get here, and we still do, not to the same level, because of the pandemic, I think that's helps get us through it.
I mean, a lot of it too is our kids are still being kids, and they don't have the weight of the world on them yet, and they don't necessarily need to see it coming through us either. So just the fact that they're waking up and they're having great days and they're having fun. I mean, they're just outside playing, and some of the stressors that modern kids have been having with being overscheduled, a lot of that's gone. They're just being kids, and so that has helped too, just to have that to look forward to every day. And even though there's some days of that are really tough, ultimately I think having them is and being and seeing the world through being able to see this situation through their eyes has been great, and being able to see their resilience too, and what they're capable of getting through.
And as Christians, the hope that we have, the hope of the resurrection and the hope that Jesus gives us, it sort of sets you up for a mindset of positivity and thinking out of abundance and not scarcity. And I think when you approach it that way, it makes the challenging times a little easier. Not easy, but easier. And to know that we're all sort of plowing through this together,
we're
And I
not
think
alone
it's-
in this. This is
Yeah.
a very shared
Not-
experience.
yeah,
So.
I think it's helpful, and I really look forward to when we can all be together as normal again.
Yeah.